Welcome back, folks. This is Tommy, Help with Gadgets, and we've got a Microtech Stitch, the Ram-Lok version, to talk about this evening. And this is another one of the knives that's on loan to me from Mr. Eddie. I do appreciate him allowing me to take a look at this knife and use and carry it. It's an interesting one. I have the Microtech MSI Ram-Lok that I'll put up beside it here in just a few minutes and kind of show the comparison to that. But this is a very interesting knife. It's a nice looking knife. It's a little bit different from what I usually carry. It's got some serrations on it, and you can tell that I have been using the knife. Used it yesterday evening, in fact. But I normally don't carry any knives with serrations. I do have a few. I've got a very old Spyderco that has serrations, but that's just not normally what I carry now. Nothing against it though, because they do have their uses. But this is a very interesting knife. Let's go ahead and get some measurements on it, and then we'll do some size comparisons, and then I'll give you some thoughts about this knife from my perspective. So this is about a little over 3.5 inch, more like 3 3/4 inches on the blade length. Overall length is right at 8.5 inches. Let's go ahead and get the measuring tool hung up here, and let's get the scale out. Get a measurement of how much this one weighs. Thinking at least, yep. I was gonna say at least 5 ounces, but this is coming in at 6.1, and I'm gonna tear that out and try it just to be fair. All right, 6.15. So it's not a very light knife. There's a lot of knife there. Let's go ahead and let's do some size comparisons. And first off, I'm going to go ahead and put up the MSI that I mentioned before, and also the Amphibian. And the Amphibian is on loan from Mr. Eddie as well. So there you can get a good comparison on the lengths of that compared to some other MSI knives. Alright, let's go ahead and pull those two to the side. Let's go ahead and also let's do the Kaiser Militao. And again, it was some suggestions from viewers was that I reduce the amount of comparisons I had been doing in the past. I realized that was probably getting a little bit lengthy, so we're going to try to cut that down just a bit. All right, that is the Berg Blade Sweeney and the Kaiser Militao. Let's do the CJRB Feldspar. That may be one that some folks have in their collection, as well as the CJRB Pyrite Alt. All right, good. Both of those are good lower price knives. Let's also look at the Migros Morial and the QSP Penguin. So you can see that the Stitch does have a little bit of size on it. It's not would not be considered a small knife by most folks. Let's do the Eutectic EFD. That's the Everyday Field Duty, and the soon to be released Eutectic Binary in the beautiful orange scales. All right, a few more. This is the Gemco Shark Cub and the Petrified Fish Mini Beluga. And then a few more that I have on hand because I still have a huge box from Mr. Eddie. That's the Kaiser Sparrow, which is mine, but this Yojimbo is his. To compare those two, let's leave the stitch down there. We need to have it down there for comparison. All right, let's do a couple of larger knives. This is the PM Pete Grizzly and the Hoback Husky. Stitch looks a little bit smaller now. Alright, let's get those two behemoths out of the way. And then last, but certainly not least, let's look at the tactile knife Chupacabra and the Kaiser Sparrow. And as you can see, the stitch is still larger than the Kaiser Sparrow. Kaiser Cyber Blade. Did the Sparrow earlier. That's the funny shaped one's the Kaiser Cyber Blade. Alright, so let's look at the thickness comparisons. If we're looking at something like the CJRB Pyrite, you can see that the stitch is a good bit thicker. Even looking at something like the Militol, you can see that it's still thicker than that. MSI with the original goat, a little bit closer. The amphibian, still not quite as big. Let's pull in the Spyderco Yojimbo. Yojimbo is a good bit thinner. Same would go for the you take the EFD, and of course the Demco Shark Cub. Okay. So there's some comparisons there. As for the profile that you would see in pocket, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. You can look at things like something that's similar might be somewhat the Yojimbo. MSI is going to be a little bit thinner in pocket, as you can see there. But other things like this, the QSP Penguin, a lot more pocket friendly, as well as the Migura Morial. There it is with the Chupacabra. So that just keep in mind, if this is a knife that you're interested in, it's going to take up some real estate in the pocket. That's just the way it is. All right, the blade steel, I think is it's the M390 MK. They're Microtech's proprietary blade steel. It's supposed to be somewhat similar to M390. The finish on this particular one is, has the black coating, and I'm not sure if that's PVD or DLC. I'll try to throw that up on the screen because I don't know the answer to that. And then the flats here look to be kind of a satin, I would think. This hand grenade means that this is a second, and the only thing that I could figure out with this, I mean, it looks great. There was a little bit of lock stick on it. Still is a little bit, but I've worked on it a good bit and got a lot of that out. Otherwise, I don't really, not sure why this one would be considered a second. I don't see anything, any blemishes with it, so I'm not sure exactly what might have been the reason for that second. Nonetheless, so it's a neat knife. It's a very interesting knife. It does have a lanyard hole back here. You could put pretty much most any lanyard that you would so desire. Jimping on the particular knife. It does have some jimping up here when your hand falls or when your thumb falls into there. It doesn't feel bad. It's not aggressive jimping. There is jimping also here along the back spacer, which just helps you lock it in hand very good. Nothing aggressive on that as either. Opening methods. You can, of course, reverse flick and thumb flick, and also use the Ram-Lok to open and close it. So it is rather fidget friendly. You also have a nice clip here with the somewhat deep carry. There will be still a little bit sticking out of the pants pocket, but this clip does tend to work well. It actually has stitch on it and the date of manufacturing, as well as Microtech here. And then looking at the other markings on the blade, the maker's mark, as well as the Microtech logo, and the M390 MK on that side, and then just the hand grenade on that side. It is reversible, as you can tell here. You can take this spacer here out, or this blank there out, and put the pocket clip over here for lefty use, and it would be truly ambidextrous, as watch me not be able to do. Like I said, not gonna happen, I don't think. I can slow roll it out left-handed. Some knives I can, well, there it went, do left-handed, but then on the close, just kind of awkward, but doable. For me, a left-handed person would not have a problem with that. No blade play anyway, and centering is, I would say, pretty good. Lockup is good. Appears to be just fine on this knife. Haven't seen that there's any problem with it. As you can, well, you may or not be able to see that, but the way this works is when that blade comes around, that lock slides in on top of the notch that's cut here. So theoretically makes for a strong lock, although I've heard some about some of the earlier models that maybe didn't do so great on the spine whack test, although I'm not sure how much that would fit into how a person would normally be using a knife. I do understand the need for secure lockup. You don't want a blade closing on you and severing muscles or cutting you to the bone or anything like that. So I do understand that. All right. The scale material is G10. This is kind of the olive drab G10. It is micro milled here, so it has good texture. Feels good in hand. Your hand doesn't feel like it's going to be slipping off. In hand, the grips, I mean, you can just about any grip that you can put it in. You can choke up. You can keep your hand back here if you want to. Reverse grip, any of that is quite comfortable. It does carry fairly well in pocket. Again, just notice you've got to know that it's going to take up some real estate. So would this be a knife that I would recommend? I probably wouldn't recommend this for most people, but if this is a design that you like, if this is a blade shape that speaks to you, then most definitely. I would probably carry, if this were my knife, I would probably carry and use it a whole lot more. But I have to be respectful at the same time of Mr. Eddie's property. That being said, I have carried and used it. Makes a great box and mail opener. and it's also been used to cut the dog treats in the evening. So it does work good for just normal everyday use. It is fairly thick through the center here. Comes down to a very tapered point, and is very sharp as well. My MSI that came from directly from them, or directly from MSI, I think. No, I don't. No, I got that from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. That's right. But it came very sharp. They do a pretty good job of sharpening up there. That is, well, in my experience. I can't speak for everyone, of course, and you may have had a different experience. But this is a knife that, again, I don't dislike it, but I wouldn't say that it would be a knife that would be for most people. So there you have it. This is the Microtech Stitch Ram-Lok, and it's a knife that I've enjoyed having around, and will probably miss it a little bit when I send it back. But there you have it. Hope y'all have enjoyed. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you hadn't done so. Leave a comment. I was working earlier tonight on getting caught up on comments, and going to try to keep at it. I got a tremendous amount of comments on one of my posts a few weeks ago, and it's put me behind a little bit, but hey, that's not a bad thing. Hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope to see you again soon. Thanks.